Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Jin Movie So Awesome. I'm Joe.
I'm Won-Jin.
Today we are going to talk about the entire season 1 of Ahsoka, available on Disney Plus. Full spoilers ahead. There are a total of 8 episodes, so if you have not watched all of them, please come back later. Here we go. Won-Jin, let me go first.
Okay.
We talked a lot about how this is a epic, you know, like we talked about how each Star Wars series had a little different genre to it. Like Mandalorian is a little Western, and
we also talked about Andor being
that's
like
espionage.
some espionage stuff. Yeah,
but this is definitely a fantasy epic, and I think it is like the closest show to like the original trilogy, in that the scale is grand, and the stakes are really grand too, and even in the last episode, man. I keep saying this, but there were so many Prometheus imagery, like with the big head and the huge nature shots. I mean, hey, listen. Last time we praised Nicolas Cage, but I want to praise Ridley Scott. Amazing director, visual genius.
Yeah.
I mean, he inspired so many. I think this is an inspiration. You know, I mean, remember like 60s, 70s, 80s, those sci-fi novels had these grand cover arts, but I think we just didn't have the visual tech to make it into a video form.
Yeah.
But now we do, and it was beautiful. And I say fantasy because, Won-Jin, they went all like Black Witch on us. What the fuck?
You know, while I was watching the last episode, what came to my mind was a lot of these video games we grew up playing, like Diablo. You know, when those great, like, what are they called? Great mothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, those witches, when they're, like, putting that spell and basically, like, turning Elsbeth into, like, one of the witches. And then, I don't know what they did, but I think they kind of, like, extracted her soul and kind of forged the sword out of it. That was very, very like Diablo-like. Yeah, that was an interesting touch from Star Wars, because after all, Star Wars was, I mean, it has always been a science fiction. So we always believe in, except the Force, that there's some advanced technology behind all these lightsabers and everything.
Well, there was always a fantasy element though, because the existence of the Force, and because. Let me ask you something. Would you compare Star Wars with Lord of the Rings or Aliens? You know, I always felt like Hey, we can have different opinions. I always just felt like Star Wars was, sci-fi, but really it's fantasy though.
Yeah, I would also lean towards Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because like, no. Let me tell you something. It has that hero archetype. You know, because Luke is a nobody, and he grows to this. I was destined to become. It turns out my father is this amazing, famous person. You know, like Kingdom of Heaven, where you know, oh shit, I thought I was just a nobody, but my father is this respected knight, and it turns out my destiny. I felt like that was more of a fantasy element, though, like Harry Potter.
Yeah,
we thought he was a nobody kid, but it turns out his parents are these.
And we see this countless times in not only movies or novels, we also see this in a lot of Japanese animations. Usually like a young boy who was destined and like kind of chosen for something great. And along the story, we kind of see the protagonist grow. So it's kind of like the ultimate quintessential hero's journey.
Well, this one
That's what Star Wars was always about.
Yeah, the original Star Wars. That was indeed. Yeah, it's a old story told in a new way. And here, but I do like their remixes though here, like because Ahsoka is an interesting character. Like, you know, because what we don't like about the latest sequel trilogy is how they messed up like the Force balance, right?
Yeah.
Because remember in the prequels, the huge issue was Anakin would bring balance to the Force. But it seems to me that Ahsoka, according to Thrawn, who calls her literally Ronin. Yeah, like she is some kind. She's literally gray. Like, what is her force? Her color, even the color scheme of her like saber is a huge hint.
Yeah.
So I think And the weird thing is this series was like finale was interesting. Like I think this is what's Thrawn is gonna go to war at the original galaxy, but I think they left Ahsoka and Mandalorian girl
Sabine.
Yeah, Sabine, and they're about to face Baylan because he's heading towards some weird stuff.
Yeah.
That I gotta be honest, I had no idea what the fuck those meant. Those big statues. So I had to search it. It turns out in like the Clone Wars animation series, they are like the literal embodiment of Force.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the guy doing this, the Zeus looking guy, he's like the Force father. And he represents balance.
Oh, man.
And the guy in the left, the baldy guy statue, he's like the dark side.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the left one, I didn't know this until I searched it, but it turns out the left one is missing a head, and there's a woman, and she's supposed to be the good side of the Force. So they're like Baylan is heading towards the birthplace of the Force.
This is so cool because, I mean, like you said, Ahsoka is a very great character.
Yeah.
And I think from the Clone Wars up until this point, the destiny of Ahsoka is unknown to us. Yeah. And all I know is that she eventually passes away. That's why her voice is also in the last moment where of the sequels where Rey gets all this like
She's
Force,
one with the Force.
Yeah, one with the Force from all those like past Jedis, like calling her out in the Force. So it kind of proves that she's one with the Force as well.
Yeah.
So it is, for me, it's more exciting than the sequels because this is like uncharted territory for us. And I also like Ahsoka because, like Thrawn said, she's a Ronin. By the way, those of you who don't know what a Ronin is, it's like a samurai without a master. Because a samurai needs a master to serve his purpose. But she's obviously without a master. So it's very fitting to call her Ronin, and we also see a lot of those Japanese samurai,
of course,
like motif on Ahsoka. Even the name,
Vader's mask
is
Ahsoka
Tano,
the mask of the samurai war mask,
the helmet, and even Ahsoka's lightsaber. We talked about this a few episodes ago. It's like curved like a katana.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that Japanese element in there.
Yeah.
And it opens doors to so many new possibilities. They can do so many things with this. Like you said, if it's true that Baylan's Skoll is headed towards like the what's it called? The source of the Force?
It's called Mantis.
And
like that's all I know. Like the sorry. The Zeus dude is called the father, and the Sith dude is called the son, and the good side of the Force is called the daughter. And apparently there's also a mother who turns crazy, and she's this like Cthulhu beast.
Okay, so, but that kind of concerns me because why did they have to choose a woman who goes crazy? That could be quite sexist.
I don't know.
But anyways.
Oh, I know what you're saying. It has to be the woman who goes demented.
Yeah.
Right? No, but hey, let's not go into there. But I was just explaining the mythology that I searched for. Hey, if any one of you know better than us, please tell us. But so like the mystery for Ahsoka season 2 is supposedly like we don't know which one of those gods is calling to Baylan. So it could be the dark side, or it could be the crazy mother. Because according to the search I did, the god called daughter, the Good Force, she died. During the Clone War series.
Really?
And that owl, you see that owl at the end that's looking at Ahsoka?
Yeah.
So what they did was when the daughter died, some of her essence was transported to Ahsoka. And since then
Ahsoka or the owl?
When the daughter died.
Okay.
Her essence was transferred to Ahsoka.
Okay.
So Ahsoka has inherent good Force in her, and apparently that's when the owl started following her around. Remember, I think the owl was also in Mandalorian, so it's kind of like this spectral beast that follows her around. We don't know the exact nature of it, but it's a symbolism that's literally there.
Okay.
So the daughter being dead, whichever one of the gods is calling to Baylan can't be the good Force. And the father is the father's dead too. So it's either the Sith son or the crazy mother. And Baylan is mistaken or something. Like, that's how the theory goes right now, from people who know better than me. Since I searched it, they explained it like there. And also another thing I didn't know was that there's I knew about it, but I'm reminded of it. There's a Star Wars novel series that stars Thrawn, and they fight Luke and Solo and Leia in the original galaxy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this story is already diverging into two paths.
So that's after Thrawn makes his return to the original galaxy?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So we could be looking at two series here.
Yeah. Now we have like two different tracks of stories that they can carry on with.
Yeah, one is Ahsoka and Baylan's fight over, I guess, the heart of the Force. And another where Thrawn is going to fight the original characters that we love. So I think it's listen, but let's I went a little too far, but let's go to Thrawn. I love Thrawn's meticulous and his fuck you to Ahsoka at the end. And then I see we thought he would mention Anakin, but I love how he's like, yeah, I thought you would act like him, bitch. Maybe you'll end up like
just
him
like
too.
him. That's right.
Yeah, that's a huge warning.
Yeah, and also I love how he's depicted, and we can see he's very calculating and very analytic. I love that side of a villain because it's not like a superpower, like you said earlier. I mean, in previous episodes, he's not like Vader, who uses the Force from time to time to intimidate his opponents.
One of the best lines from the episode was, now that he knows Ahsoka is the pupil of Anakin, he knows that she cannot be negotiated with. That was hilarious. Like, so
he's just like shooting blasters at her.
Because if you think about it, even when Vader was Anakin, he was like that. And after, it's like Anakin on steroids. Negotiating is not an option. It's like you die or submission. So like,
your lack of faith is disturbing.
Yeah, that was a good characterization of Vader. Because if you think about it, Vader isn't political at all. He's completely overwhelming. I like how the Sith are like the purest Sith are like. They're basically fascist and totalitarian. Like there's like no compromise whatsoever, and
no wonder he dresses in black.
Yeah, because evil,
just like Mussolini.
Yeah, evil are absolute. Speaks on black and white terms, and that was done well too. But I do like Thrawn also sweating a little though, because we do see him almost losing his cool at the end.
Yeah.
When he hears like Elizabeth is dead, when he sees the ship close, and then only when he knows that he's fully victorious, he starts to gloat. Let me have a channel, and then I do think it was some kind of like psychological warfare on Ahsoka though, because Ahsoka was definitely disturbed by what she heard.
Yeah,
because it impacted her emotionally. But by the way, the zombie, I like the two black.
Oh, that's right. We have to mention the zombie troopers.
I did like the straight out dead zombies, the black armored one.
Oh, the ones that are called night troopers.
Yeah. I love the two, like basically they're like Praetorian, I think.
Yeah, but that was one scene I actually did not like.
Really.
The reason is because, I mean, those night troopers are fighting against the Jedi, and with every series, I just keep seeing these Jedis being nerfed. Weren't they able to use the Force?
Yeah.
Can they just, like, push them off the cliff? Why is he, like, struggling to fight these night troopers? What's his name? Ezra?
Yeah.
He could have just used the Force to just, like, push him away. It's like, what is he doing?
Oh, but I disagree on that, because remember in Mandalorian, those guys were there. They're like the elite guys. So I like the fact that it just reminded me of Game of Thrones Hound, like not Hound, but what's his Mountain.
Oh, Mountain.
When he goes zombie, it's just like, because those guys were shown to be deadly in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And now that they're zombie, I just felt like, oh, that kind of explains why they're so overpowered. Maybe they could have added a scene where Ezra tries to push force them, but they just
maybe they should have done that.
Yeah. So they just sustain it like with no problem.
Because it kind of gives me the impression that these Jedis, like Ezra and what's her name?
Sabine,
they're very incompetent. That's the impression I got.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they're not Luke Skywalker, but
well,
still.
they're not Ahsoka, because Ahsoka is definitely alpha up there. Yeah.
That was my favorite one. Her fight against Elsbeth
Oh,
Morgan.
man.
And that was the choreography on that scene was really excellent. Great. Yeah, even the way she ends Elsbeth, like how she grabs her sword and slashes her.
Yeah.
Oh, that was an awesome scene.
I'm glad they cast her though, because she has a the woman who plays Elizabeth, she has a martial arts background.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why she can do those Jet Li moves.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's her.
That's just like Michelle Yeoh or something.
Yeah. She's on that same spectrum.
Wow.
And I thought the casting was great, and I thought her acting was great too. Because I think the Elizabeth actor, she's like basically like the main character, one of the main characters from start to finish. Like she's the only one with a complete arc, by the way. She starts off journeying for her master, and then
after all that trouble, she finally becomes one of the sisters.
And then they use her as the Marine, basically. But it did humanize Thrawn for me though, because I felt like Thrawn was a little bit emotional.
Yeah.
When and Thrawn is shown to be a commander that cares about his troops, because he asked Elizabeth, "Did you explain to them like what they are sacrificing?" And she says, every one of them were willing to make the sacrifice for you. And he says, like almost like a Stark would say, it's not for me, it's for the Empire. So here's another psycho version besides Vader, where like it's like Stannis level like ruthlessness mixed up with this like so you could tell, like, for him, he's one of those logical dudes, like He Who Remains, or like someone who does evil for what he thinks is the better good.
Yeah, and we've seen this from the Avengers, from villains like Thanos.
Yeah.
And this is what I think makes a villain very interesting and likable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the Great Mothers, I felt like they felt a certain way when Elizabeth died.
Yeah.
Because they, like, the Captain Mother looks at Thrawn like, Elizabeth's dead.
Yeah.
There's kind of like a blame there.
And also, you can kind of feel that they expected it to happen, but they were actually hoping not to happen.
Or they expected it to happen, but they're not happy about it anyway. Because I did feel like Elizabeth is like, man, Thrawn must inspire some loyalty, because someone to cross the galaxy for you, to make that whole ship and find out your secrets and die. That's it does make me wonder about how crazy the Dathomir witches are going to be, scary as hell, because they're going to the home planet to do that ritual that they did with the troopers, those coffins.
Now we kind of get the hint why they were carrying those coffins onto the ship.
Yeah, I think they need to be at Dathomir to do that ritual in like large scale or something, because that's the only explanation why they would need to transport that, right?
Yeah.
Because if the three Great Mothers could do it themselves, they would have revived them already. But I think their deal was to take them to Dathomir, and the remainders of the Empire and the witches of Dathomir will fight the Republic.
And it makes me look forward to the next season, because we will probably get to see Dathomir. And if they manage to depict this planet in such an epic way, just like in a Ridley Scott movie, I'm pretty sure they will do a very good job with Dathomir as well.
I do wonder if they're going to keep this in Ahsoka series, though. Because
there could be like a spin-off.
Yeah, I do think so. Because, Thrawn as this villain set up like this, why wouldn't they revive Luke and Leia and Han Solo if they can? But I think the reason why they ended it this way is they're kind of testing the waters too. Like, I think Disney is just a little bit more careful about how they set up their IPs now, since there's so many like hate from reviews, and I think it's a tricky road for them.
Yeah.
But just this series alone, I like the Prometheus vibe too, because I love stories that involve far away space that is almost magical and mystical anyway.
And also like a lost to civilization vibe.
Yeah,
That is supposedly super advanced or like very mythical.
Exactly. And you know, Won-Jin, I thought they did a good job because I felt like they made the magic thing believable by making us prepare for some occult shit from the very first episode. Because I think if they overdid it, you mentioned it well, but I would word it differently. You said Star Wars is sci-fi. I think it depends on the audience. I think we do expect some like hyperspace logic that is, you know, explainable within the universe, and the Force isn't that crazy shit, remember? So I think they were really careful here to not make it like a Magic Kingdom thing.
And you know, this advanced lost civilization thing has always been very popular. Even in what's it called? Game of Thrones, we have that civilization called Valyria, and they're gone, but that Valyrian steel is still so powerful, but they have no idea how they made it. That kind of thing. So I'm hoping this next season or maybe a spin-off could deal with a lot more of these like Star Wars myth and
no, but it'll be so
mysteries.
Tricky to introduce gods though, because remember, even in like Mandalorian, they intentionally leave it vague though, whether there was this like real Mandalorian who was a Jedi, like what's that? Who the guy who wrote the actual mythosaur? You know, like, because here's the thing. Here's the problem with it. If you start explaining it, it might lose its cool. You know, it's a tricky thing. If you explain not enough, it's kind of, what the fuck is this? I want to know what's going on. And if you explain it too much, the magic is gone. So I think they have to be very careful on explaining this Force father thing, especially in a live action. Because imagine in Star Wars, a Zeus appears and say, my child, Force is here with you. And like, I don't know how like people will take it though.
Yeah.
And besides, like, having a god like that, I think puts like a lot of like a religious imagery that people really don't associate with Star Wars. The Force is like, hey, Won-Jin, listen to me. The Force is like Tao. It's like a religion that's like really human neutral. You know what I mean? Like humans and gods really don't appear in the Fourth mythology. It's like a Tao thing. This is the way. There's the yin and the yang and the boom and the bang. But suddenly
it balances the universe.
And then suddenly a yang appears and say, like in Godzilla form, I am black. I am yang itself. Isn't that what the sequel trilogy fucked up?
Yeah,
I am all the Sith. They're like, what?
And another thing I have to mention is in the last scene where Sabine kind of feels the Force and she saves her word, and then we see Anakin in Force form. So I'm hoping to see more of Anakin like tagging along with Ahsoka, because I think that's also an interesting touch. It kind of gives me this Dragon Ball vibe.
Oh yeah.
You know, when like Gohan, when Gohan is like fighting Cell, and Goku is dead and he's in the ghost form, and like the moment where he goes Super Saiyan 2 and blasts off Cell after, what's his name? The robot. His friend, the robot.
Yeah, dies.
Dies. Yeah,
number
like
16.
Cell, like number 16. Yeah, that's right, number 16. Cell like crushes his head with his foot, and then that kind of drives him mad, and he becomes Super Saiyan. Ah! And then in the last moment of destroying Cell, we see Goku in like ghost form, adding his power to his Kamehameha. And I'm hoping to see like one of those scenes with Ahsoka, where like Anakin like adds to her Force to defeat a greater evil.
Wow, that's a good idea. Maybe like we got a prick tease of that in like the sequel trilogy with Yoda burning the tree.
That's true.
You know, but Yoda would have been much more awesome as an avatar like that, though. Just sitting in your shoulder in ghost form and whispering to you, that would have been awesome.
I think a great idea, and probably make all these Star Wars fans like orgasm, would be like a moment when Anakin adds his power to Ahsoka, and then it's still not enough to defeat this like greater evil, and then Yoda shows up.
Yeah. Whatever like Baylan becomes,
at
right?
my power I will, and then he does something crazy.
Because like I would love to see Baylan transform into some Force monster though. That would be like hey, listen, like, but Ahsoka was a great series, so I don't mind them exploring new pathways like that in the Star Wars series. You know, it doesn't have to be always about. I think Dave Filoni is very good at preserving what he thinks is the legacy of George Lucas and the Star Wars series, while trying to introduce new ideas. And I think it's a tricky balance, because Last Jedi I felt like they were restarting history, and that didn't work well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, though. But hey, listen. Oh, and before we forgot to mention Shin Hati. I was a little bit disappointed with the Shin Hati ending.
Oh yeah, she was like lost, and then she found that group of the local
Mercenaries they
tribe
work
guys.
with,
Yeah. And then she raises her lightsaber.
That's a definitely Japanese anime moment, because that kind of hints that maybe she will turn to Ahsoka's good side, because Ahsoka did say, you know, I can help you.
Yeah.
So she's in the middle. So, but what's exciting is in Peridea, this world, we have Sabine, Shin Hati, Ahsoka, and Baylan. Like, so depending on what Baylan finds, like these, like, and here's a huge hint from the series where the reason why Ahsoka gave up training Sabine was her anger, because that's a Ahsoka and Anakin disease that can turn you to the dark side. So we have Shin Hati, who's a neutral or dark Jedi, and we have Sabine, who has some talent, but Ahsoka is afraid that she has a dark soul or whatever. And we have Ahsoka herself, who's sort of in the middle. And we have Baylan, who's not a Sith, going to this place. So, like, it's going to be some kind of, like, force off. Where
this
like,
would be interesting, yeah.
Yeah, like, some of them might become the Avatar good or bad, or they might be tempted. And we have at least 4 Jedis in this world. And it provides Ahsoka with a good opportunity to train Sabine.
And I think this is a good opportunity for this, like, politically correct Disney executives to basically gang up on the toxic masculinity.
Now, why did you have to go there, Won-Jin? Our podcast isn't about that, man.
I'm just kidding, people.
Yeah. Hey, Won-Jin and I, we're not part of that, all right? Why did you say that? Now people might just, like, listen, they might make a short out of you and just define you as, like, one of those guys.
Watch this Korean asshole say this.
Yeah,
anyways.
but I just felt like it's like a Faith Avatar thing. I wouldn't mind it becoming like a Troy Iliad where, like you said, whispering Anakin, like these gods of Force whispering on each one and trying to tempt them to be a good one or a bad one, or like, because what was sad about Anakin's story was in the prequel trilogy, at least, he was about balancing the Force. But I have a question, Won-Jin. I have no idea what the fuck balancing the Force means. Like, what does it mean?
I don't think it means anything, because even in the prequels, they kind of talk it as if some sort of, like, prophecy.
Yeah, so, like, but here's the thing, though. Like, what would happen if the Force finds balance? Like, I don't understand, like, will Sith and Jedi all disappear, and will they be a new form of Force? You know, I'm not saying there's a right answer. I'm just speculating. So I would like those kind of questions answered in a new series if they are going to talk about the nature of the Force and its impact on the universe and whatever. That's all. So I just don't understand, like, what balance means. And Anakin is weird in that, like, even in his Force form, he's kind of dark. Like, what is he? Is he like a Jekyll and Hyde where...
No, I think he's just a version of Anakin who's, like, super self-aware now. It's like self-aware of both his Anakin size and Darth Vader side.
No, but don't you think his clothes was weird? Because his clothes was black. Like, it's the one he wears when he turns Sith. Remember how he used to wear that Obi-Wan stuff? Up to, like, episode 2.
I didn't pay much attention to that. Maybe it represents, like, a hybrid of both, like, Vader and Anakin.
That's what I'm asking. Like, what?
Or maybe that represents the balance in the Force. Maybe you can't be all good or all bad. You gotta be something in between.
Yeah, but like, you know.
But then it also makes me question. Then what about, like, Obi-Wan and Yoda? Where are their, like, Sith sides, like bad sides.
Yeah, so that's we're it's part of the you're trying to give a good answer to one of my questions, but it doesn't answer like here's my question. Let's say the Force found balance. And the father stops doing this and does this. And then, I'm just asking, what is the future of the Sith and Jedi Order? And you know what I mean. It's so the danger here is it could end up being hocus pocus. But anyway, let's give a number grade to season 1, shall we?
I would give this an 8 out of 10.
Oh, really?
I would give this an 8 out of 10. Because still, there were some things I did not like. For example, like the arc of Sabine, that I did not really like.
Oh, you think she was the weakest?
I thought she was the weakest in terms of character development.
Yeah.
I think she was forgiven too easily, and I think after being tempted to the dark, to the dark side to save Ezra, she just returned too quickly. I think there should still be a hint of her not being worthy of a Jedi or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So there are some character developments I did not like. And I also think Ezra... Well, maybe this is because I haven't seen the Clone Wars and stuff.
Me too. I know what you're saying.
Maybe these characters are already very well developed there. But in terms of, the
as
show,
a new
Ahsoka,
audience,
as a new audience, I thought it was not enough.
I agree.
Yeah.
I give it a 8.5. Because of the scale,
Yeah.
the epicness. I liked it from the start.
Yeah.
Where even one of my favorite scenes is the whale scene when they travel with the whale and show in live action a ship in a whale's mouth hyperspacing. I love the grand scale of it, but I agree that because of that, a lot of characterization was sacrificed, and I didn't even like Ezra's story too.
Yeah.
Because I don't know you, motherfucker. You're a good looking dude, but when him and General Hera met, I was like, okay.
How did he get there? That was my question. And just to mention Ezra, I was not convinced that he was a Jedi. Yeah, when I saw him. I was not convinced that he was a Jedi. Even when he was fighting, I was not convinced that he was a full Jedi.
He did remind me of that Rogue One blind dude, though.
What's his name?
I'm one with the Force.
Donnie Yen, Donnie Yen.
Yeah. But I still give it an 8.5 because you mentioned Japanese anime really well because there were anime moments that look really cool in live action.
I think the whale moment, the space whales, I think that also gave me a lot of Japanese animation vibes.
Yeah.
There were these space-based animations like Cowboy Bebop. There was also this animation called Outlaw Star.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of those vibes.
Yeah.
And I would have given this a 9 if I saw Hu Yang in action.
All right.
With lightsabers. Yeah, I was hoping for that. Remember in the first season, I think, of The Mandalorian, we see that assassination robot going going all action. I was expecting that from Hu Yang.
No. Yeah, I agree. It wasn't perfect, but it was one of the it's second to Andor for me now, and better than Mandalorian season 3. Better than Mandalorian season 3. Not that I didn't enjoy Mandalorian season 3. Season 2 was just so much better. And here, even the cliffhanger ending, I was happy with because, to be honest, it didn't conclude anything.
Yeah,
it's like the start, it's not even about whether we can stop Thrawn or not. It just
feels like it just ends in the middle of the story.
Yeah, but I love Baylan and Shinhati though. They were more fascinating than Ezra and Sabine for me.
So I kind of also wish they got more screen time.
Yeah, but they did the best they can with the limited time, and the villains were fascinating. The artifacts and the CG on the epic palaces, and I love Thrawn. And I love the scale of the Star Destroyer too. I never knew those things were that lethal.
Yeah,
because we always see them in movies where
they just get destroyed so easily.
Oh, so much power! And they're like fucking papers. They're like paper ships. But here, I love how as an admiral commanding a destroyer, Thrawn's order was amazing. load up the batteries and
turbo lasers.
Yeah. I like that. So there are great scenes in this series.
And just before we finish, I have to mention CG. They did a great job because remember from I think Andor, Mandalorian, and also Obi-Wan, we saw that like their digital screen thing kind of being obvious. It was kind of conspicuous, and it did not really blend in to the scene overall.
I did,
and I was kind of bothered by. I mean, it was putting me off. Yeah. But with this, I think I'm not sure if they used it or not. It blends in very well. It's not distracting, and I could definitely see that to create this epic moments, they spent a lot of time and probably a lot of money on CG.
It was basically a long movie. It was a long movie.
It was very movie worthy because remember, we criticized the CG from some of the other series for being too much like TV like.
Yeah, definitely.
But this did a great job.
I think it just proved that Disney is banking on this one. They're like, this better revive us, motherfuckers. I can just imagine. Okay, I'm not gonna make that joke. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. That's our take on Ahsoka. We really, really liked it. So if you like Star Wars series, please watch it. I think
strongly recommend it.
Next week, we will be talking about Gen V.
Yeah.
And we'll also talking about Loki Season 2. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Joji Movie So Awesome. I was Joe.
I was Won-Jin.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.